She told friends she wanted to meet an Arab prince. At least, that's what people close to the situation later claimed. When Meghan Markle came to the UK, it wasn't for sightseeing. It wasn't for love at first sight. She came with a goal: money, status, power. But instead of landing a billionaire from the Middle East, she got this prince, the ginger one, Prince Harry. And what happened next changed everything. Because this wasn't the fairy tale the public was sold. Not if you look closely. Not if you trace the pattern backward.
And I've got this from a very reliable source. She said to a friend, I want to come to the UK because I want to meet an Arab prince.
And so she got a ginger one?
She got a ginger one. That's what she was lining herself up to have.
Because she wanted the money.
She wanted the money.
Long before the tiaras, long before Windsor Castle, long before the global fame, Meghan was already making moves in London. Quiet moves. Strategic moves. The kind you don't notice until years later when the pieces start lining up. And once you see that pattern, you can't unsee it. So let's rewind. Back to the moment before royalty, before the titles, before the lawsuits. Let's dive in. Let's go back to 2013. Meghan was still on Suits, still relatively unknown outside of cable TV circles, still hungry for something bigger. And that's when the Ashley Cole situation happened. You remember Ashley Cole, right? Chelsea footballer, married to Cheryl at the time, tabloid favorite. Well, according to journalist Katie Hind, Meghan reached out asking for advice because Ashley Cole was apparently pursuing her on Twitter. She wanted to know if she should respond, if she should engage. Here's the thing though, Ashley Cole's brother came out and called it complete nonsense, said it never happened. But the story got her name in the papers, got people talking, got her exactly what she needed: attention. And that's where the pattern starts to emerge. Multiple journalists from that era have said Meghan's team was aggressively pushing for UK tabloid coverage. They wanted meetings, they wanted stories, they wanted her face in those papers. This is the same woman who would later sue the Mail on Sunday for invasion of privacy. The same woman who would sit down with Oprah and talk about how the British media destroyed her. But back in 2013, she was allegedly begging for that coverage. Funny how that works, isn't it? But here's where things get really interesting. Once she actually got into the royal family, once she had that ring on her finger and that title attached to her name, everything changed. The mask started to slip, and the people who saw it first? The staff, the ones who had to work with her behind closed doors, away from the cameras, away from the carefully curated Instagram posts and public appearances. October 2018, the communications secretary sent an email, not just any email, a formal complaint. He said Meghan was bullying two personal assistants out of the household.
Meghan was treating them like scum, was treating them like the dirt on the sole of her shoes.
His exact words painted a picture that contradicted everything the public was seeing. He described her as someone with an intent on always having someone in her sights. Staff members were being reduced to tears. People were walking on eggshells. The palace launched an investigation. You know what happened with that investigation? Nothing. The findings were never released. Buried, hidden, locked away. Makes you wonder what they found, doesn't it? Compare that to how Kate treats staff, how the late Queen Elizabeth treated her team. Royal staff don't make a lot of money. They get perks, sure, they're part of something historic, something special, but they're not getting rich. And traditionally, they've been treated with respect, with dignity, because that's what class looks like. Real class, not the Hollywood version where assistants are disposable and staff are beneath you.
Meghan came from nothing, and rather than saying, you know, I am blessed and privileged, I'm going to treat people as I would want to be treated.
But Meghan's behavior with staff? That wasn't a royal family problem. That was a Meghan problem. Because directors who worked with her before Harry have come forward with similar stories. One director said her demands on set were worse than actual A-list celebrities he'd worked with. She wanted private jets for short European flights, flights that don't even have first-class options. This was for straight-to-DVD movies, not Marvel blockbusters, not Oscar contenders, low-budget productions, and she was acting like Beyoncé. The audacity of it all is kind of remarkable when you think about it. Fast forward to now, 2024 and 2025. The chickens have come to roost. 11 publicists in 5 years. Let that sink in for a second. 11. That's not bad luck. That's not coincidence. That's a pattern. The Hollywood Reporter dropped a bombshell calling her a dictator in high heels. Inside, these PR firms said she's impossible to satisfy, that her expectations constantly shift, that nothing is ever good enough. And here's the kicker. Top US PR firms are now refusing to work with Harry and Meghan. Flat out refusing. They're calling them difficult and cheap. In Hollywood, that's the kiss of death. You can be difficult if you're paying top dollar. You can be cheap if you're easy to work with. But both? Nobody wants that headache. But it gets darker. January 2025, Vanity Fair publishes a report that compared working for Meghan to being in Mean Girls. Staff members needed therapy, actual therapy after working for her. They described her behavior as cold and withholding, a pattern that never changed. People were taking extended leave just to escape the scrutiny, to get away from the constant pressure, to breathe. This is the woman who preaches about mental health and compassion and kindness. The hypocrisy is staggering. And then there's the Spotify disaster. Remember that podcast deal? The one that was supposed to make them media moguls? Spotify paid them millions, actual millions of dollars. They produced, 12 episodes before Spotify exec Bill Simmons called them grifters on his own podcast? That's how bad it got. The Netflix deal? That lapsed in September 2025. No renewal. They're scrambling for content, scrambling for relevance, scrambling for income. But here's where the story takes its darkest turn yet. The money's running out. Archwell Foundation donations dropped from $5.3 million to $2.1 million. That's a massive hit. They've laid off staff. Multiple rounds of layoffs. The lifestyle brand she tried to launch? Trademark battles, legal issues, delayed indefinitely. Harry's security battle with the UK government is costing them hundreds of thousands in legal fees. The Montecito mansion has a mortgage that's bleeding them dry. The private school tuition, the staff they still have, the lifestyle they're desperately trying to maintain, it's all crumbling. And you want to know the truly wild part? Word is, she was drawn to extreme wealth, the kind of wealth that comes with power, insulation, and unlimited resources. People even say she talked about meeting an Arab billionaire or some royal figure. True or not, the pattern of her choices tells a story of its own. Instead, she got Harry. A prince, sure, but one who was cut off financially, one who had to sign deals with Netflix and Spotify just to keep the lights on, one who lost his security. His titles are hanging by a thread. His family won't speak to him. His brother won't even look at him. She gambled everything on this move, on this marriage, on this leap into royalty, but she miscalculated. Badly. Because the British public loved Harry. They adored him after Diana died. Those little boys walking behind their mother's coffin broke the nation's heart. Harry could do no wrong. The wedding in 2018? The whole country celebrated. Black, white, didn't matter. People threw street parties, they waved flags, they welcomed her with open arms. And she threw it all away. Called them racist, called the institution toxic, went on Oprah and aired every piece of dirty laundry she could think of, except most of it didn't hold up under scrutiny. The Archbishop of Canterbury had to correct her wedding claims, the hospital had to push back on her birth story, the palace receipts started surfacing. Reality didn't match her narrative. Now look at them. Harry looks miserable in every photo. That's not a man in love. That's a man in a trap, a very expensive, very public trap. She's filming him constantly for social media, the same guy who said he's traumatized by cameras because of what happened to his mother. She's become his biggest paparazzi. The irony would be funny if it wasn't so sad. People say it's only a matter of time before she moves on. Maybe she'll find someone older, someone richer, someone who can give her what she really wanted all along. But the truth? Her reputation precedes her now, in Hollywood, in media, among the circles she once hoped to impress, and reputations like that are hard to shake. People recognize real royalty when they see it, and it's not Harry and Meghan. So we circle back to where we started. She wanted an Arab prince. She got the ginger one. She wanted money and power and unlimited access to the throne. Instead, she got exile. She got lawsuits. She got a crumbling foundation and a failing marriage. She wanted to be queen. She ended up isolated in California, broke, unemployable, hated by the very people who once welcomed her. The question isn't whether it was all calculated. The evidence speaks for itself. The question is whether she ever stops to think about what she lost, whether she realizes that the fairy tale was real. It was right there. All she had to do was show up, be kind to the staff, wear the pantyhose, follow the protocols, support the charities. But she couldn't do it. Her ego wouldn't let her. Her ambition wouldn't allow it. She had to be the star, the center of attention, the main character. And now she's just another Hollywood washout with a title she doesn't deserve and a husband who looks like he aged 20 years in 5. Harry? He's running on empty. They both are, and the world is watching them crash and burn in real time. Was it worth it? Because from where everyone's standing, it looks like you traded everything for nothing. The ginger prince, the spare, the one who was never supposed to matter. Turns out, he mattered a lot more than you thought. The hunt for wealth and power ends the same way it always does, with nothing but regrets and what-ifs, and a bank account that can't sustain the lifestyle she so desperately craves. The real tragedy? She could have had it all. Every single thing she wanted: respect, admiration, influence, legacy. But she wanted it on her terms. And royalty doesn't work that way. It never has, it never will. So here's the question everyone's asking now. Did Meghan miscalculate, or was this outcome inevitable from the start? Drop your answer in the comments. If this made you think, hit like. Subscribe for more deep dives like this, and we'll see you in the next one.